What is going on, you guys? My name is Rage and we are back today with an exciting video here, live gameplay of the Famine Scourge event. So I haven't even started yet. I just actually logged in and we're going to go ahead and get things started here. So I did want to go through the playthrough, show you guys how a full run on difficulty 6 is going to look, because that's ultimately how you're going to unlock Rogue right away. So as you can see, time recording just started here. If I hit go, I'm actually not going to have any Scourges. I want to just jump straight to difficulty 6 because this is generally the recommended score that can actually get us unlocking Rogue right away. So you can see top right, 594,500 is the total full points I'll be getting once I go through it. And if I hit rewards here in the Milestones, you can see that you actually unlock Rogue earlier here. So I'm just scrolling to her. It should be about, yeah, this 500k mark, milestone 17, and we would be able to get all the shards to actually unlock her immediately. So that's the benefit there, and that's why we want to be able to do that here on difficulty 6. So shouldn't have an issue, but hopefully gives you guys a sense of the teams to look forward to. I recommend doing this as well before adding any Scourges, because that way you can see on a blanket approach how your team's going to do before even adding these Scourges for points and manipulating those numbers. So with that being said, guys, let's get this party started. This should be a fairly quick video just because we're going to do a full gameplay of everything, but as well as some sample teams that we're going to see. As you can note here on the side, they're all around 70-80k, so we're going to see how this is overall and develop some strategies. I do have some preset teams already, so hopefully this helps you guys as you start and prepare for this for the next 10 or 11 days here. So note 1, after doing some thorough research, we do note that one of the best teams to utilize is actually going to be the Web Warriors. So I have them slotted in already. So let's get this party started here with the Web Warriors. Mine are really built up just because they're used so heavily in the Doom 2 raids, and as well they're also part of that crucial first Scourge run with the Pestilence and unlocking Morgan Le Fay. But we likely won't see too many issues here. Let's just see how it is overall. So big issue right away, if this was actually a higher Scourge, is that Captain Sam, he's going to be able to, grant energy. We want to take away the damage dealers right away. So we're going to go ahead. It's a joke for me, so I'm actually just going to put this on auto, so that way you can at least see the attack order. But I would focus on damage dealers such as Cable, and then I'm going to see if I can highlight any issues overall too. So thankfully, these guys are all really, really weak for my team. But again, we're going to want to be mindful of this as we level these guys up, as this is just going to be intended to show you guys the waves that's coming about and the characters that we're up against. So likely Magneto will be the last there that you face, but there you go. Difficulty 6, not too bad. Right away, I can already tell this is the waves are definitely less enemies than what I've noticed in the first Scourge event. So right off the bat, I feel like it's already easier, and that's also what I've heard from the other content creators as well, doing research leading up to this. Now, I heard this node is actually more difficult for the Web Warriors. We're still going to go ahead and use them, but in this node, because there is a Hela, it's actually recommended to actually use a Symbiotes team, or at least another variation, so you can at least take advantage of that Hela. So you know what, we're gonna switch things up here with my Symbiote roster and jump right in. And so far, it seems like the main pain point, very similarly to the first Scourge event, is definitely the Nodes 5. Nodes 10 for this one actually isn't too bad. So right off the bat, you can see these guys doing damage, but the nice thing about having the Symbiotes is that with Greg being on the other side, Hela's undead minion, we can take advantage and gain turn meter whenever we take him down. So that's one key advantage we have if you actually use Symbiotes for this. Even if you don't have the full Symbiote team, so as long as you have Carnage and some other Symbiote characters on the team, at least you can take advantage of that turn meter increase. But right off the bat, if you're able to do that, I would focus on the damage dealers first and taking advantage of hitting Greg whenever you can. And then when you are able to take down the damage dealers, it's gonna be a very streamlined experience, because we'll likely just leave the squishier enemies such as Hela, such as Proxima Midnight on the team. Wong doesn't do much damage either. With Bishop down, I would focus actually on Gambit and Morbius, because they're likely going to be the characters that we have to deal with. So unfortunately, my guys hit really hard here just because I am quite a bit higher than them, but we took down the Hela, so that's really where you're going to have to pause and start being more strategic if Greg's not available. But that's likely what I'm going to do in my next run here in terms of raising the difficulty and assessing those Scourges. And I'll make sure to make a updated video on that too, guys. I want to definitely capture one of my higher runs on video, so that way you can see for reference. But after that wave clears, we do see this final cluster here, consisting of a mixture of unlimited X-Men with Agatha and Merc Lieutenant. And Agatha's just going to get the natural shroud because of her passive, but we'll go ahead and finish off Dazzler. And I always like taking down Lieutenant just because he can give a lot of buffs to the team. We can't really do anything about Agatha Harkness there, so we'll just go ahead and then finish off Phantom X, and then lastly finishing things up here and just wrap it up. So far so good. I didn't expect any issues because like I said, I know my guys are definitely more than ready to go here, but you can just see who's going to be pain points, even given the fact that these guys are a lot weaker than my team. At least attack order, hopefully that's going to help you guys here as you go through and see the waves. So I don't think you guys will have an issue with the first two nodes being city, just because we do have a really good arsenal of characters that we can utilize. That includes the Web Warriors, the Symbiotes, and we haven't even talked about characters like Cloak and Dagger, both being city as well, and then Shang-Chi, right? So that's definitely going to be mindful of here. Okay, so that's two nodes down. Let's go ahead and start things now with Mutants. The main team for me is actually going to be the Astonishing X-Men, as I recommended in my previous videos. Astonishing X-Men has a really good synergy for nodes 3. We could take advantage of their synergy, but I also heard that with the next node, it's actually meant to counter Astonishing X-Men. So we may or may not need a different team to actually face up against them. But right from the get-go, Astonishing X-Men are the no-brainers. We want to take down the squishier enemies, so that way we can actually get some turn meter increase here. But we need to be mindful of characters such as like Dagger, Yondu that has the sustain. So we're actually gonna focus on Dagger, and then once she has the blind, we are in a much better spot. So I'm gonna go ahead and just auto this as well, just because I don't think we're gonna have issues. But so as long as we're able to take down enemies overall, getting that slow on them, it works well for us because damage is gonna be reduced because of Iceman's passive. And once we start actually getting enemies taken down here, you can see the turn meter starts going back up, and we just need to focus on one enemy at a time. So I'm actually gonna, go ahead, stun. Okay, Bishop there, and we're gonna go ahead and finish off Yondu just because he has some sustain, and I'm gonna focus now on T'Challa. And the nice thing about this mixture is once you get to this part, they're not gonna be doing a lot of damage, and then afterwards, what is super nice about this wave afterwards is similarly to the first two nodes. When we have Greg on the side, this is almost the symbiotes version of the mutants, right? Whenever we're able to take down Greg again, we're going to be getting that turn meter increase. So definitely focus Greg if you can. As you see, already wiping out Hela, but that's okay because, like I said, I expected this to be pretty straightforward. But I will note that the next node is meant to counter my Astonishing X-Men team. So I am curious how it's going to fare. Fortunately, like I said, my team is a lot stronger, so but we'll see how it goes, how it does even against a team or node that was designed to actually counter this specific team. Ideally, I want to be able to use these guys, but no promises, just because it was actually meant to counter, and that's just, Scopely getting more creative here. So that's 3 nodes down. We got 7 more to go here. So this is the one that's meant to actually counter Astonishing X-Men. Let's go ahead and just see how they do, even with them having more power. And then worst case scenario, I did hear that the X Factor can also be used, so that may be something we need to consider. But hopefully, I want to just get by, even with the higher levels. I want to see if I can just get by with my Astonishing, because that way I don't have to invest in more characters if not needed, or even using characters like Omega Red, right? Maybe, perhaps he can add that value there. But I think the biggest thing is if we're able to take down an enemy, we can get the ball moving on things, such as with the turn meter here, especially Mystique having that ability to actually mind control. So next up then, we're going to want to just focus on anybody that's weak. Yeah, so not too bad. Actually, not too bad for enemies that are significantly weaker, but I can definitely see an issue here just because there's a lot of damage and bleeding later on. And you can see here the second wave drops at 6 out of 9 enemies. And that does include a couple of Sabretooths and Deadpool. So, you know what? Might be okay, though. I definitely don't see too much of an issue, despite what people have said. I think I can definitely make do. Perhaps maybe use these guys as the initial attempt for this node, and then use the rest of my roster here to clean up. But overall, very, very straightforward. Difficulty 6, still really, really good if you have these guys built up. And these, naturally, most folks will have the Astonishing X-Men built up just because they're a Doom 2 raid team, and hopefully you don't have to overly invest here. But as well, there's actually a decent mixture of healing characters from this wave. Emma Frost, Invisible Women. So the good news is there's not a lot of damage dealers outside of the ones we just took down already. It's just part of that Weapon X mixture that we need to be mindful of. There we go, and then we're just gonna go ahead, finish off Invisible Women, then we'll go ahead and clean this up here. So far so good. For sure, though, nodes 5, nodes 10 are definitely what's going to be the bottleneck here in terms of how high you want to go. And that's it, definitely with a notable emphasis on node 5. The best team, hands down, to use is going to be the Young Avengers. And I'm glad that prediction was true because, you know, a lot of content creators, myself included, we've been talking about this for months now. I feel like ever since they announced the Young Avengers is one of the main requirements, right? But this is a great reason why, because we're going to see that the Young Avengers, their synergy is going to be absolutely crucial here. And even with these guys being significantly higher, you'll just see the number of attacks the enemies will get. And hopefully we can see it in practice here. But I was watching, I believe it was Dorky Dad, just showing us some footage, right? And you're going to see that these guys are just going to get a boatload of turns before us, and they're just going to go ahead and do their thing. And that's why it's important to have a sustaining team such as the Young Avengers, because you can see right now, even with these guys being significantly lower than us, just look at the number of turns they're getting before us. That back and forth of the synergy of having Young Avengers being able to cleanse, it's going to be really, really big here in terms of seeing if you can get by. Just look at this. Like, they have a huge advantage against us. And I'm actually going to go ahead and use Squirrel Girl's Cleanse now right off the bat. But we want to take down characters such as Taskmaster, the Doctor Stranges that can actually revive. So definitely that's going to be my focus, right? I'm actually going to target Taskmaster here just because he's already weak. I want to get him out of the way. And then next up, I did hear that Doctor Strange Heartless is also a character we need to be mindful of just because he's got some devastating abilities, as well as his counterpart in being Doctor Strange. Because if we give them enough time and space, especially once you start adding Scourges and they start getting energy every time we use an ultimate, he's going to be able to revive, and we definitely do not want that. So again, I'm fortunate in the sense that I'm glad my Young Avengers are built up, but this is going to be the key team to get through Node 5. If you guys are doing difficulty 5 or higher, that's going to be key. I'm not sure if any other team can actually get through it, to be quite honest. And now that we've got through it, I'm just going to go ahead and start kind of basicing here, because I do actually want to save my abilities for the last node. But when you get to this next wave here, I would recommend taking down Deathpool, just because, you know, she's got the passive attacks. And as well, these guys being notably weaker, we're in a great position. And just look at how much sustain we're getting, right? I'm really liking the fact that the Young Avengers synergy is really kicking in here. There we go. So you just look at the number of attacks we're getting. Yeah, and like I said, I'm very grateful that my team is a lot higher, but I can definitely see how this is going to be an issue later on once we bump up the difficulty here. Just look at how hard he was able to hit us, and that's despite the fact that we're actually a lot stronger than them, right? So there we go. We're in a good spot now. Taking down one of the Elsas. Let's go ahead now. We'll start basic again, and again, saving our energy because we want to be mindful of the last node here. But like I said earlier, this is definitely going to be the pain point. You get to see how devastating his abilities are, Sunfire. So I can't wait to actually be able to build him up. But yeah, he's definitely going to be a fun one to use once you build up the Unlimited X-Men team. And if you guys have your Unlimited X-Men team built up, that's a great team to use for the previous node we just wrapped up. So again, node 5 is going to be the pain point, and fortunately, we're looking really good here just because of the synergy and how high we built them up. And I got lucky in the sense that I actually brought Squirrel Girl for my Dark Dimension 5 run. So super, super lucky there. But yeah, I can understand how this is going to be the pain point for these runs. 5 nodes down, guys. 5 more to go. So node 6 this is where we start having some of the villains. And I do actually recommend, there's some pretty powerful villains that we can utilize that are consisting of legendaries. If you're starting off in the game recently, you may or may not have access to these characters, but I would recommend, you know, this first one is more free-to-play friendly if you have Lady Deathstrike and Emma Frost available. Personally, I recommend this combination just because 3 out of 5 characters here are already part of the Dark Hole team. Dr. Doom and Omega Red are also 2 of the strongest legendaries in the game in terms of their abilities. And Dr. Doom, I consider him a pseudo-legendary, so that's why I noted that there. But yeah, these guys are going to be really, really powerful. Right off the bat, we want to take down powerful characters such as Shang-Chi, just because we don't want him getting his turn in terms of using his ultimate on us, and he can punish us, especially if we have positive buffs on our team, right? So I'm actually going to go ahead and hit auto on this too, because I can tell right away this team's just not going to have much against us. In the next wave, we're up against Icarus, but fortunately, there's no Cersei here, so that's definitely good to know. He means he can hit hard, but so as long as we're able to do the damage that we're doing, we'll be in a good spot. Yeah, so this one might be a little trickier once it gets higher just because of the number of offensive characters they have. But again, we also have access to a really good array of different villains that are super powerful, especially when 3 out of 5 are also part of Darkhold and the arena team you've already invested in. So I mean, if you guys have them naturally already higher up, that's going to be a huge value add right there. So making short work of that node. Another villain node now. This is the boss for it. And again, we're going to see up against the Phoenix, a couple of combinations of the A-Force, and as well as some remnants of astonishing X-Men there. So same team, we'll keep rolling with the punches here. But overall, like I said, I've already noticed, like, even this difficulty 6, it's a lot more streamlined than when we did actually Pestilence. So I can definitely see what they mean by I feel like they toned down the difficulty, which is good, because a lot of folks will likely be able to unlock a rogue here easier than, in my opinion, Morgan Le Fay. And to be fair, I think Morgan Le Fay is also the better legendary, so I can understand that reasoning and logic for sure. Okay, and we'll go ahead. Yeah, I like finishing Spider-Woman just because of the fact that she has the offense down, and we want to get rid of her. So here we go. And then who I recommend next is a cleanser such as Jessica Jones, because that way we can get the cleanses out of the way. And then who I also recommend after is, we don't want to hit Phoenix just because we don't want Dark Phoenix to spawn, but if we can finish off Magic in this wave, I think that's a good approach to it. Because leaving characters like Beast, you know, She-Hulk, they're not going to do too much to us. Iceman, there's not a lot of damage output going on there. And then I am actually going to focus on Nico, just because she's kind of an X factor in terms of what she can do to us if she uses her abilities again. But because of how significantly much weaker these guys are, we're not going to have a hard time here. As you can see, we're just rolling with it. Super straightforward and extremely smooth here. So there you guys have it. And go ahead, use all the abilities you want, because we're likely not using some of these villains again. The key one though is going to be Omega Red, because I believe, oh sorry, no, the next two is actually going to be the Cosmic Mystic team. So no, we're not using some of the characters again now. So yeah, Cosmic Mystic here. We'll go ahead and hit launch. I believe there's gonna be some variations that we can utilize, but I did have a preset team already that I want to show you guys, and that's gonna be, honestly speaking, any combination of Cersei and Icarus. You can go ahead and use Doctor Strange Heartless again too, but I think this is a pretty good mixture because I also have Adam Warlock's crowd controlling abilities, and Yondu is nice in the sense that he can actually summon for some sustain. But to be quite honest, I don't think we're going to need it because, like I said, once you have Cersei and Icarus, they're probably going to carry. So we'll go ahead right off the bat. I want to take down their sustainability, and I think if you're able to do that right off the bat here, characters like Squirrel Girl, taking her out so that way they don't have sustain. Another good one is going to be Ghost Rider, because anytime we take down an enemy, he's going to get a passive strike, and fortunately these guys are weaker, so we got lucky there. But a very straightforward wave. Once you clear that initial group, we're going to see a mixture of some fellow Spider-Man characters in the Web Warriors, and as well as Symbiote Spider-Man. So interesting that they kind of add that into the mix there. But yeah, I can already see the value of Yondu having his sustain. You may or may not need it, just because Cersei and Icarus may actually carry these next two nodes anyway, so not a big deal. There we have it. And yeah, like I said, pretty straightforward. This should be a really solid team. Even if you guys have some sort of variant of this, so as long as the Eternals are leading the charge, I think it's going to be very straightforward. You have other powerful characters such as, Doctor Strange Heartless once again. We got Ebony Maw if you want some defensive capabilities. Rework Thor, Hela. So yeah, there's definitely some good mixes here. Cosmic Mystic definitely limits the number of characters, but there's still some very potent and powerful characters that I recommend. And again, if you have the Eternals, they're really going to be the difference maker here. I don't think we're going to see as much struggle as Node 5 as we just noted, but here we go. So right off the bat, maybe saving for an Icarus Ultimate would actually be a pretty good idea. You can see how squishy Yondu is, so I may or may not opt actually using him later on, just because I didn't realize how weak he's going to be, right? So he might actually just get taken down in the real deal. The nice thing about taking down these enemies then as well is we're going to take advantage of Deathpool's passive attacks, and that's kind of what we want to do, because the more attacks we can get, we can strip away their positive buffs, and as well we can really hone in on the enemies. So even in this playthrough, wow, I actually lost Yondu, so maybe I would not recommend using him, but we'll go ahead now and finish off the damage dealers like Killmonger and as well as Agent Coulson. But you can see how hard these guys kind of hit already, and keep in mind we're a lot stronger than them, so may or may not recommend this team, but again, you can see kind of the big three that's kind of doing all the work, and that's Eternals mixed with Deathpool. I love that synergy with her just having all those off-turn attacks, and by having that, it's huge, just in the sense that we're gonna get some really good additional damage that's needed. So finally, now Icarus ultimate, and again, I think what I'm gonna do then for the next time I do this is save up energy for Icarus so that he can actually use his ultimate right from the get-go when we start this node, because I feel like this is gonna be more important, especially than the last node. The last node was straightforward, especially once you clear that initial wave, and you can just see these guys are hitting hard even in difficulty 6. Us having that severe and significant advantage over the enemies here, especially with them having a Kestrel. I think that's going to be something we need to be mindful of, especially when we're doing it in a harder difficulty here. Go ahead, like I said, keep targeting the weaker enemies here, because it does allow my Deathpool to do the passive strikes, and even Adam Warlock is actually almost getting taken down here. And that's because of this mixture of the Secret Avengers, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and use all our abilities now, because this is very straightforward, and this is likely going to be one I may have to do another team just to do it, just to maybe even take an initial hit, and then that way clear with my Eternals. But overall, you guys can at least get the sense of where, where the pain points are going to be. So 9 nodes done. That only now leads the final wave here. The last node, we actually do go up against Valkyrie for the first time ever in this game, as well as Mighty Thor. And fortunately, again, we don't go up the Eternals combination. It's just Icarus, so that is fine by me. So we'll go ahead. We'll stick to our guns. We're going to go ahead and use the Young Avengers mixture here. And I actually heard for this wave, for this node, actually, having Miles Morales is actually better than Chavez, just because of the disruption. So I'm just going to use him for demonstration purposes, because why not? But yeah, he's also a fellow Young Avenger, so keep that in mind. He's going to get the synergies, as well as the Web Warrior synergies too. So right up from the beginning, fortunately, the flip doesn't work because Cersei's not on the team. But we'll go ahead. We're going to finish off the damage dealers first. Finishing them off, and then yeah, I don't actually know how powerful Valkyrie and Mighty Thor is going to be, so I guess we'll see this in practice, but I'm pretty confident how we're going to be, because like I said, the sustainability on the Young Avengers team is really huge here, in terms of just we have really good energy granting from Ms. Marvel. She's going to be giving a lot of skirmishers and applying the vulnerability across the board, and you can see passively how awesome Kate Bishop's passive is there. The offense down from Squirrel Girl, and the best thing about all her abilities is just the sustainability she's going to be giving. It doesn't even matter if I'm stunned. We're going to go ahead and cleanse that pretty shortly here. But I can definitely see how this one is going to be an issue as well, because you can just see this massive cluster of enemies that we're up against. They got taunts to get through. But again, because we have the blind going on, we have the offense down. Once we start taking down some enemies, it's going to be a lot better. So there we go. Finally start taking down some waves. I wouldn't worry about enemies like Chavez if they're blinded. That's a good one. But let's go ahead and take down Icarus. And I'm nervous because I haven't faced up against this new Asgardians team. So we do want to likely focus on them when we get a chance to. Don't give them that synergy chance, right? So there we go. Yeah, so far so good. And like I said, it's going to be the story of these nodes is really going to be going through and seeing how big, how strong can you get your Young Avengers, because they're going to be the difference maker here, and how well you actually push through the Scourges, and how well you actually do overall with your score and ranking. They are going to be providing that synergy and sustainability, and it's nice because we didn't even see this actually in the last Scourge. Sustainability was lacking with Web Warriors. That's not something they're good at, right? So now that we've taken down at least Mighty Thor, we'll go ahead, we'll focus on Valkyrie now, just to try and take her down. But man, she's got so much buffs going on here, so I definitely feel like she's going to be an issue as well. You can just see how tanky she is, and again, we have that advantage over the combat power overall, and you can just see how much work they're doing against us, and the blinds are really saving us. And you just look at how amazing the heals are. Our sustainability, our HP is still really good. We got some good buffs as well. The dodges is extremely helpful. Perfect. And then yeah, you know what, I'm actually not gonna focus. I'm gonna not focus on Valkyrie, because I feel like she should be probably one of the ones we take down last, just given how tanky she is. She's getting a lot of support from the enemies here, so we'll go ahead, we'll take down the damage dealers, follow the same strategy as we always do. The strategy is going to be able to guide us along. X23, she's definitely going to be an issue once she gets stronger, because she can do some really notable damage. And then we're going to leave Valkyrie for last, because That mistake of thinking she was gonna, go down harder and faster, gravely mistaken. And as you can see, we make short work of these guys, but because of that advantage we have, I'm definitely nervous about it. I definitely feel it's not as hard as Node 5, but Node 10 is definitely not going to be a quick cakewalk based on what I just saw right there. So there you guys have it. Full Scourge run, difficulty 6, using some sample teams. I'm going to get this video out as soon as possible and at the time of recording here, so that way you guys can get a sense. But yeah, let's go ahead, newest high score. And we'll go ahead and claim the rewards here, and we should be actually able to unlock Rogue right away. So there you guys have it, Rogue unlocked, and we'll just keep claiming the rest of this. But yeah, overall, that's how you get the job done, guys. The difficulty 6 right away, no Scourges. Get a sense of the field, because now I kind of understand which nodes are going to have issues and kind of gaming plan the rest of it. I hope this video was able to help you guys plan and prepare, and keep in mind, right, time recording, 10 days, 23 hours. We got lots of time to get as high as we can for this new legendary. Join the game here. Good luck in your guys' journey, and definitely expect more videos to come out as experiment and push towards my limits as well. Thank you as always, you guys. Do appreciate you checking my videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one.